Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a real special one. It's a collab with That Denver Guy. But get this, guys, it's not only a collab with That Denver Guy, we actually are going to be sitting down with Benjyfishy and MrSavage M in this video, talking to them about why they are better than Metro and Mongraal. It's absolutely insane, guys. Now, real quick before we get into it, let me just explain what this video is and the idea behind the collab with That Denver Guy. So today I will be arguing and debating why I personally believe Benjyfishy and MrSavage M are a better duo than Metro and Mongraal. It's a very debated topic and it could go either way, and that's why That Denver Guy believes Metro and Mongraal are actually better, and he will be arguing and debating that on his channel. Now, before we jump into it, you guys have 4 steps you need to follow while watching this collab. First step is watch this whole entire video to the end and learn why I believe MrSavage M and Benji are better. Then second step, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like for me. Then third step, go to the description, click the link to That Denver Guy's video and see what he thinks. And then the fourth and final step, be sure to leave a comment on his video and my video letting us know what your opinion is. But now, let's jump into it, guys. I am going to have 3 main points that back up my argument as to why MrSavage M and Benjyfishy are better than Metro and Mongraal. First, I will give you guys my 3 main points, then we will hop into a call with MrSavage M and Benjyfishy and ask them what they think about my main points and if they think they are better than Metro and Mongraal. My first main point is consistency. MrSavage M and Benjyfishy have been dominating the World Cup from the top to bottom. Basically, week 1 all the way to week 5, you can find at least one of them in the top 10. Whether it is solos or duos, they are always up there. Now sure, Metro and Mongraal have done good. They qualified for the duos event in week 2, getting 2nd place. But they got 2nd place behind Benji and MrSavage M, who got 1st. Which you can see here, but don't worry guys, that is not the only reason why they are more consistent. Let's just go ahead and take a look at every single player individually and as a duo and see how they performed each week. We'll start off with Benjyfishy. In week 1 of the World Cup qualifiers, he placed 3rd, qualifying as a solo. Moving on to MrSavage, unfortunately week 1 was his biggest hiccup and he even failed to qualify for the final. Moving on now to Mongraal, week 1 in the solos event, he got 17th, which was his best overall performance for solos. Then taking a look at Metro, in week 1 he failed to crack the top 100 in the finals. So overall in week 1 you gotta give it over to the NRG boys, Benjyfishy really representing and getting 3rd place and qualifying. Moving on now to week 2, which was the first duos week, we already went over this. Benjyfishy and MrSavage did get 1st place, with Metro and Mongraal closely behind in 2nd. Moving on now, this is where we see a big spike in the consistency from Benjyfishy and MrSavage. In the 3rd week of the World Cup qualifiers, Benji placed 25th overall. Moving on to MrSavage, he placed rank number 19 overall in week 3. As for Metro, he did a little bit better this week than he did in the last solos event, but still not better than Benji or Savage, placing 34th overall in this week's solos. And then in Mongraal's 3rd week solos, he failed to crack the top 100 in the finals. Now moving on to week 4, another duos week, we do see Benjyfishy and MrSavage getting rank number 24, which is still really good. As for Metro and Mongraal, they didn't even play together in week 4, which I know maybe they could have done better than MrSavage M and Benjyfishy, but the fact is they didn't play, and that's actually going to hurt them. The fact that they missed out on a week of practice. So that still works in the favor of MrSavage and Benji. Now moving on to the 5th and final week that we have concluded of the World Cup qualifiers, it's solos, and we see Benjyfishy once again cracking the top 100 for the 3rd week in a row, getting rank number 62. Now moving on to MrSavage, he actually placed rank number 4, which is enough to push him to New York City, where he will compete in the solos event against his teammate Benjyfishy. So this means already in week 5, both Benji and Savage have qualified for both solos and duos. As for Mongraal, for the 2nd solos event in a row, in week 5, he failed to crack the top 100. Metro definitely did really good in week 5 solos. He got rank 11 overall. It wasn't enough to qualify qualify, and it still was behind Savage though. Now let's do some quick math just to put their performances and consistency into perspective. Now pay attention, because I don't want you guys to get lost here. I'm going to get every single placement from each player, then add them all up together with their duo partner, and then divide it by the total amount of tournaments they played, and that will be their average placement. Now bear in mind, some of the players didn't crack the top 100, so it's basically impossible to find where they placed exactly unless I go through all of the leaderboards. That will take forever. So if they didn't crack the top 100, we're just automatically going to give them a rank 101. I think overall that is fair. So for Mitro and solos, he placed 11th, 34th, and then we'll give him 101 for that time he didn't crack the top 100. So we added all those together, and now we're going to add a 17, which is the placement that Mongraal got in his first solo, and then we will add a 101, and then another 101, because Mongraal didn't crack the top 100 in the next two solos events. And finally, now we will add a 2, which is the rank that they got in the week that they did play the duos event. So overall, that is 7 tournaments they played. We will divide that all, and we get the average placement of 52.428. Now on to Benji and Savage. Benji placed 3rd, 25th, 62, added those together with 101, 19, and 4, which were Savage's placements, and then their duo placements, which was 1 and 24. That's a total of 8 placements. Divide that, and we get their average placement of 29.875. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody, but clearly after doing the math, Benji and Savage have been way more consistent across the board, especially in solos, which leads me to my second main point. Benji and Savage are clearly much better in the solos environment. Now you may ask, oh, how does this reflect on duos? Because we're talking about the best duos. Well, guess what? If your partner dies in duos, you're stuck on your own. You're a solo player now. So your solo instincts and understanding of the game are going to kick in, and clearly Benji and Savage have performed much better in that category. And this is a very important trait to have. It can be make or break, and we'll bring up something. For example, take a look at Cloaksy and Tfue. If you guys remember during the fall skirmish finals at TwitchCon, if it wasn't for Cloaksy having like 3 or 4 amazing games after Tfue died where he picked up like a total of 20 kills alone, they would have never had a chance at winning that event. So if it comes down to a situation where Benji or Savage die and the other one needs to clutch, there is definitely the opportunity for them to do that. At least they have proved it so far in the qualifiers. So basically, my first point reinforces my second point. They're extremely good at solos and have been very consistent, so they will be able to pop off in an environment where one of their teammates dies, which happens a ton in duos. Now moving on to my final point, it's going to be maturity. Benji and Savage's maturity is just through the roof. They understand how to compete and how to win. This means they don't get caught up and tilt a whole bunch during huge tournaments, which has been something that Mongraal has struggled with, and he has tweeted out a ton recently. And it's seriously really affected Mongraal majorly. The past 2 solos events, he hasn't even cracked the top 100. And to prove my point, MrSavage actually struggled a lot in the first week of solos, and he did rage and freak out. But guess what? He bounced back real fast in week 3, placing 19th, and then in week 5, he placed 4th overall, qualifying for New York, showing that he could easily overcome tilt and rage, while Mongraal at this point is still struggling with it. Now that's not the only thing about maturity, there's a whole bunch of things. For example, the teamwork that Benji and Savage display is unreal. They play for each other, there is no selfishness at all. And that is something that is extremely hard to find in young players. They don't care about the individual spotlight. They want to win as a duo, and they will make the individual sacrifice that they need to make in order to get that victory. And also, inside of their teamwork, their communication is incredible. No matter what, they are always communicating and trying to help each other, even if they are dead. So those are my 3 main points as to why I personally believe MrSavage M and Benjyfishy are better than Mitro and Mongraal. Of course, you guys could disagree, but before you do that, let's go ahead and jump into my talk with Benjyfishy and MrSavage M and see if we can change your mind. Here we are, guys, with the legends themselves, MrSavage and Benjyfishy. What's up, guys?
Yo, what's up?
Alright, let's jump straight into this, and I want the very first question to be, are you guys better than Mongraal and Mitro? And if you don't want to answer that, at least give us some of the advantages you might have over them.
What do you think, Benji?
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think there's really a way to say who's better. me and Savage have been a duo for a longer time than Mongraal and Mitra. I think that's one of our advantages. We've had longer time to create chemistry, etc. But obviously, Mongraal and Mitra are both insane players. They've both got like, insane mechanics. But I honestly don't think there's a way to decide who's better until the World Cup finals and see who places better.
Okay, I like that answer. What about this, though? Are you going to beat them?
Good.
I hope so. I hope so, dude. I mean, I feel like we might be slightly more consistent than them, but they definitely have. I feel like they might have a bigger potential to like really pop off because they're really godly, you know, mechanically. Me and Benji might be a little bit behind on that, but we're still you know good mechanically, but they're like one level ahead of us on that, you know. But
so big part of this video and why I do believe you guys are better is because, as Savage mentioned, you guys have been more consistent in the past. But also in the Fortnite World Cup, you guys have placed better in duos, but also you have both done much better in the solos event than them two. Matter in fact, you have both qualified while neither of them have. And specifically you, Benji, you have been up there like top 20, top 10 multiple weeks. I know it's a different format from duos, and that's why I want to ask you guys, do you think there is a major difference, or is that actually a good advantage for you? That not only are you guys really good in duos, but if it comes down to a scenario where you're alone and you have to clutch out in the duos event, you are capable of doing that because you're a very good solo player.
That's a tough one. I was honestly really surprised when Mongraal didn't qualify for the first week because he was so far ahead, like at the start. But a problem that Mongraal has in solos is his mentality is really bad. I think he tilts too easily. I think he said it himself. Like, that's what messed him up on the first week. He just messed up. He messed up the last few games. I don't think he thought that he could like qualify. And that's the same with the other solo weeks. His mentality hasn't been doing good for him. I'm not sure about Mitro. I'm not too sure about how he's done. I know in one of the weeks he would have qualified, but he messed up with a shadow bomb, which is really unfortunate. But I think they're both still like insane solo players. I think they just haven't been getting the best luck. But I guess we'll see in the other weeks and see if they qualify.
Okay, I like that you bring up mentality because that's one thing I'm also going to be talking about. You two are just like, it's hard to believe that you're both 15 and under. You're so mature when it comes to the game. I know, MrSavage, you struggled in that first week of the qualifiers, but you bounced back real quick in the next coming weeks, and that's something that you mentioned with Mongraal. He's kind of struggled week after week with his mentality, and I do feel like that's something that's going to get into their way when it comes to the World Cup finals, and I feel like you guys will strive above them. What do you think about that?
I feel like, yeah, our mentality might be slightly better than them. Especially, I learned a lot after the first solo week. Like, I tilted so much, and I got so many replies from pros, like, try to tilt less, and it will help you out a lot, trust me. And then, in the next few weeks, I did that. I tried not to tilt as much, and I just kept playing good. So, maybe that's a big advantage that we have over them.
Yeah, you bounced back real quick. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So, are they your biggest threat? Or is maybe Issa and Camo up there as well?
I think there's gonna be I think there's gonna be tons of really good duos. Like, obviously, it's gonna be the best duos in the entire world. And there's duos that we haven't played against before from other regions. So I honestly have no idea. Like, I honestly think Mongraal and Mitro probably have the best duo mechanics in the world. But maybe another duo from a completely different region has completely insane chemistry, and we have no idea about it. Yeah, honestly, I don't know because we haven't played against any other regions.
So I'm wondering, like, of course you guys want to beat them, but how bad? And does it, like, motivate you to know that you maybe performed better than them in the last qualifier, or say in the World Cup finals? How satisfying to you would it be if you guys performed better than them? And I ask this because there has been some fun banter and trash talk between you guys. Specifically with you, Savage, and Mongraal. Obviously you guys have talked some trash between each other, and it's been so fun and exciting to watch. What do you think?
Beating them? Definitely, like, being ahead of them, or like even being underneath them on the leaderboards, you know, it kind of gives us more motivation to play better and stuff. You know, we have someone to really compete against, drives us forward, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah,
that
we
you guys...
really want to beat them.
Wow, that's so cool. Both of you guys are such amazing duos, and being able to push each other and motivate each other every single week is only going to make you better, and that's why I think the rest of the world should be really scared of you guys. And as I said, I know there's been some small trash talk and friendly banter between you guys, but I think it's obvious that you guys are friends behind the scenes with Mongraal and Mitro, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We talk a lot to them.
That's awesome to hear. I want to say thank you so much for coming on to the video, guys. I'm sure everybody is going to love this. The viewers have been waiting for this. Is there anything in particular that you guys would like to say to them? Go for it.
I feel like a lot of you guys think there's like beef between me and them, or me and Benji and them, but there really isn't. We're good friends and stuff, and we talk a lot off streams and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
at the end of the day, it's all fun banter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear that up, you know.
All right, thank you so much again for coming on, guys. This was amazing. But real quick, we gotta ask us, what's up, man? What are you gonna do in the World Cup? You gonna destroy everybody tomorrow?
I'm saying the world is not ready yet for my L2 button.
Of course it is.
Alright, thank you guys. So there it is, guys. MrSavage M and Benjyfishy, just want to say thank you so much for coming on the channel once again. You truly are amazing players, and so is Mitro and Mongraal. And I advise you guys to go check out that Denver guy's video now. Link is down below in the description. If you enjoyed my video, be sure to drop a like on it and subscribe for more videos. That's going to be it for me, guys. Peace.